What if you put your sound off and mine on? I think I can hear something.
Can anybody hear me now? Okay, brilliant. Okay, let's start over. So I'll let Kasturi do the introduction again, and then I will. Okay, quickly hold on a second.
Welcome, everyone. Sorry for that technical issue. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Kasturi from Unilever Food Solutions, which is one of the leading food service providers globally. Our presenter today is the Culinary Chef Experience Advisor of Unilever Food Solutions, KZN, Chef Danielle Venter. Today, she will highlight how to protect your profit. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box. Chef will answer them after the presentation. Now, without any further ado, we turn our time over to Chef D.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining my webinar on costing. So sorry about the technical difficulties. Once again, thank you. And I think everybody has, it's a very bit easier for everybody to understand. You will see in the handout section of the webinar, there is 2 downloads, so the whole presentation as well as the costing example that I'm going to do with you. And yeah, let's start off with the presentation. Cool. So we'll start off with a little bit of terminology, and that's the first one is food costing. So food costing, it's how to determine your food cost to figure out your selling price of your dishes. So the food cost is important to know as it has a direct effect on your profitability of your restaurant. It is the cost of your ingredients, and it does not include other costs such as your labor and your overheads. So food costing is an essential tool in determining whether your food cost targets are being met. So a lot of you will receive a food cost percentage from your line manager, and you have to make sure that you keep your food cost percentage below a certain percentage, or they would like an exact amount of food cost. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. So on a basic recipe costing, is understanding the basics of a recipe costing. It's important so that you can know how much food cost is incurred on each recipe. This gives you a clear view of how much you can earn per dish. To understand how to properly price your dishes to achieve your target profit. To study the way your competitor price their dishes against the industry benchmark. This is a very important point that I want to bring up. If you are in a very, very busy strip of restaurants and you charge 160 Rand for a burger and your right next door neighbor is charging 110 Rand, people are going to go to your next door neighbor for a burger because everybody is a little bit cost conscious. So it's always very good to do your research in the area to know exactly if you fall into the right price category when it comes to your food costing or your prices of your dishes. Then we need to know when to reduce a recipe cost. If you keep up to date with your costing and see if you are going beyond your target of your percentage, you can easily plan how to reduce your costs and to find out each menu item's profit margin and decide which ones to promote through suggestive selling and promotions. So suggestive selling and promotions, the easiest way to explain this is whenever you go to a restaurant and the waitress comes over to you, she always recommends a dish. The reason for that is because the kitchen staff, your chefs, have told her to recommend that dish because that's what they make the most profit on. So that's a very good example. So the food costing tools that we're going to work with today is your standardized recipe. So I'm going to show you an example of the standardized recipe, and it's basically the costing that is based on the standardized recipe, makes it easy to compute with your food cost based on your servings needed. Every single item on your menu needs to have a standardized recipe, not just for food costing, but to make sure that the dish is made exactly the same every single time. Your customer is there and they would like consistent quality. So if they had the burger here yesterday, it needs to taste exactly the same as yesterday when you go today. Your up-to-date ingredient cost. So your current prices should be the basis of your costing, and this needs to do a price check from time to time. I'm saying you can do a price check maybe once a month. It's not necessary for you to do a price check every single time. If you do have a very clever point of sale system, I won't mention the name, but a lot of the industry restaurants uses them. Every single time you receive an invoice, you can type in, it has a whole costing background. So it will give you a recommended selling price. Every single time you receive an invoice or stock, you punch it into your system. It gives you, it updates all your costing on your system, and it gives you a new recommended selling price. Then you will know as well, you can see like if your costing is going up or down, and you can see if you're actually charging enough for your dish or you're charging way too much and you can drop your price. Then you can put that item on a special. Okay, then your recipe costing sheet for record data, all information about the recipe, such as your current cost, your actual ingredient cost, and your cost per portion needs to be documented. So there's a step-by-step that I've added into the presentation for you, just for you to understand exactly how to cost your recipe. It's no point in me trying to explain this to you without you actually seeing how it's done, but we will go through it step by step. Then I'm going to give you an example of a standard recipe. On a standard recipe, you always have to make sure that You have the heading of your dish. So we are doing a costing on a Cajun chicken salad. It has got the number of portions. So at the top left, you'll see this is for 4 portions. Then it's got a list of all your ingredients, the method of how to actually make the recipe. It's got your recommended selling price, and it has got your cost per portion. So now we move over to your selling price. So we've done your food cost, now your selling price. So once you have your food cost, you can figure out your selling price of your dishes with a basic formula. So this is very good to understand. Your selling price is your food cost plus your labor cost and your overhead cost, okay, plus your profits. Your selling price should include all of the cost plus the profit you would like to earn. What should the food cost percentage of your selling price be? So everybody, as I said, everybody works with their own percentage. You normally get given this percentage of what it should be, but roughly we work anything from 30 to 45%. So food costing and practice. So here's an example of how you get your selling price of a dish. So a restaurant has a target food cost of 33%. So the newest recipe has been calculated to have a food cost of 50 Rand per portion. So applying the 33% rule, the target selling price is 50 Rand divided by 0.33, and it gives you 150 Rand. That is your recommended selling price. I'm going to move over to an example of a costing that I will do with you. Okay, if you just give me one. To the other screen. So I just want to see what you guys can see. There you go. Perfect. So I'm going to start off with the recipe costing sheet. As I said, I have included this in the handout on the right-hand side of your screen. So we'll start off with your recipe costing. All the formulations has been added into this Excel spreadsheet. Okay. Then you've got your total recipe yield. So as I said, our recipe was 4 portions. Then you can put your size per portion. So if you're working with grammage or millage, you can add that in there. And your number of portion is 4. So this is all of the ingredients that was on my recipe. And I've added it in there already for you to make it easy. And this system will work it out for you. So as I said, that it's got the formulations in there already. So all I will do is I will go receive my invoice and I will see that this is what each recipe costs. Okay. So for chicken breast, I get a 10 kilo box. And for the 10 kilo box, I pay 520 Rand, add it in there. And it says to me that for the whole recipe, it works out to 20 Rand and 80 cents. Then, not to bore you, I'm going to go through this quite quickly. For a head of lettuce or for 100 grams of lettuce, the head is about 150 grams. It's 9 Rand 99. Make sure you use commas and not full stops and not commas. Then a cucumber, we need 100 grams. It's about an average of 300 grams per cucumber, $12.99. For the oil, we all know how expensive oil is at the moment. I haven't updated this price in a while, so it might be much more expensive than this at the moment. 680 Rand. Cherry tomatoes is $32.99 for 500 grams. We only need 100. The red onion is $34.99. Feta is $2.95. and 56 cents for a 4 kilo bucket. The carrots are 14.99 for a kilo. Yellow pepper 39.99 for a kilo. And the Robertson's Cajun chicken spice is 144 rand 41 cents per kilo. And then an avo is 29 rand 99 for two. But if you are not using the sheet and you would like to work out the food costs with a calculator, I've put the formula on the side for you. So very easy to remember that what is the most important thing that in the whole world? In the whole world, it's always what you want. So what you want is what the recipe is asking for. So that's 400. You divide that by what you have. So you want 400 grams, but the whole box weighs 10 kilos. So you always work it over to what you want. So we're going to move it over to 10,000 grams. You times that by the cost, and then that gives you your cost per item. So now once we've done this, it's calculated everything at the bottom there. So your total cost per dish is 67 rand and 28 cents. It added your VAT for you, so it's got times it by 15%. Your total recipe cost is 77 rand and 38 cents. Now your cost per portion is your, there's a formula. So it divided it by 4 because remember it's taken what your total recipe cost is, your number of portions that you've entered. And then it's got your recommended selling price at the bottom, and how it worked that out is it took your cost per portion of 19 rand and 34 cents and it times it by 0.33. So we are working on a 33% food cost. So what I'll do is I'll just copy and I will paste this. Oh, it didn't copy and paste. Maybe I should do one by one. Okay, still not. Let's just add it in there. 19 rand 34. And then 58 rand 62. So we are not going to sell this chicken salad for 58 rand 61 cents. Because if you think about this, when last did you go and you ordered a chicken salad for 60 rand? Nowadays, you can't find a chicken salad for 16 rand anyway. So we can add a little bit more in there. I'll say we'll sell it for 80 rand. Always remember to add the date that you costed it. So today is the 29th of September 2022. And the reason for this is that if someone else has to do the costing, they've got no idea when last your recipe was costed. Okay. As I said, it's available in the handouts, so you can download it and you can play around with the costing sheets. Okay, so let's go over to the finish with the presentation. Okay, so I've added a little bit of information here, also information that you can get to help you. Is a beautiful app that Unilever has developed. It's free to download on your app store. It's called Ufs Academy, and it's not just for costing, it's for anything food related. So if you are interested in pasta making, there's a couple of videos that you can watch, and then there's a quiz at the end of it. And if you get all the questions correct, you get a little certificate that you can add into your CV. Very nice for a large brigade that you can, if you're the executive chef or head chef, you can tell the rest of your team to please do these videos. There is a paid version that you can have to allocate specific sections to your teammates to make sure that they actually are upskilling themselves. Okay. Oh, a very nice thing about Ufs Academy as well is there are the masterclasses. So the current masterclass is food photography. I'm sure all the chefs want to do a masterclass on food photography. So that is a paid version as well that you have to pay for. As well, I've added in 2 of the links of the source of the information that I've used today onto the presentation. And then I would please want to ask everybody to follow me on Instagram. My handle is @chefdanielle_SA. I post quite a lot of information on there and some personal funny stuff as well. Cool. Cass, do we have any questions?
No questions, Chef.
No questions? I'm going to give it a minute if you would like to ask a question. Let's see if anybody has a question. Other than that, you can always reach out to me on Instagram as well. Ask me any questions. We do offer some awesome training, so a lot of virtual training. If you would like, if you've got a Ufs rep that comes to visit you, you can always ask them to set up a virtual training session. We can train on all of our products, on costing, on health and safety, anything that you need, and it's all for free. If we don't have any questions, I would just like to say thank you for everybody that joined my webinar today. Remember to follow me on Instagram, and I will hopefully see you soon in industry. Bye.